Once a tradesman, Abdul was leading a caravan to another country, to sell his goods. Along the way they came across a severe hot sand desert. Locals informed that during the daytime, the sun heats up the sand, so it was impossible to walk on it. So how to cross the desert? Travel at night when the sand cools down. So Abdul hired a desert guide, one who could follow the stars, and began the night journey across the desert. A couple of nights later, after eating their evening meal, and waiting for the sand to cool, they started out again. As the journey was approaching in the last stage, their food and water reserves were almost exhausted. Later that night, the desert guide saw from the stars that they were getting close to the other side of the desert. So he was relaxed. As he had overeaten, he dozed off to sleep. Will they reach the destination that night? With guides sleeping, the camels gradually turned to the side, and went in a big wide circle, until they ended up at the same spot they had camped the day before. What will happen now? With no food and water. People lost heart and began to cry about their condition. They had no more water, and were afraid they would die of thirst. What will Abdul do now? Instead of regretting, Abdul faced the situation wisely. So he began walking back and forth, trying to think out a plan to save them all. Can he save his caravan? Not sure, but some hope. Suddenly, he noticed a small clump of grass. He thought, without water no plant could live in this desert. So, he called over the most energetic travelers, and asked them to dig up the ground on that very spot. Will they find water? They dug, and after a while, they got down to a large stone. Seeing it, they stopped, and began to blame the leader again, saying, "This effort is useless, we're just wasting our time." Will Abdul give up? No, Abdul persisted. He replied, No, my friends, if we give up the effort, we will all be ruined and our poor animals will die. Let us be encouraged. How will he convince his team to dig further? He got down into the hole, put his ear to the stone, and heard some sound. He was excited. It was rippling sound of water. He called over a man and said, "Take this heavy hammer, and strike the rock." The man lifted the hammer over his head, and hit the rock as hard as he could. He himself was the most surprised, when the rock split in two, and a mighty flow of water gushed out from under it. Suddenly, all the people were overjoyed. They quenched their thirst, and refilled their water reservoirs. Before leaving, they raised a high banner, so that other travelers could see it from afar, and come to the new spring, in the middle of the hot sand desert.